The Subaru XV as you know it is gone, and it's been replaced by this, the very familiar looking but different named Subaru Crosstrek. In this video, we're going to answer the question, is this the best value Crosstrek money can buy here in Australia? Now, we haven't driven the hybrid yet. We will be doing so really soon, so stay tuned for another video. But in the meantime, let's focus on the R variant today in this Chasing Cars video. And before we start, make sure you like and subscribe to Chasing Cars.
Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car. Brought to you by
Budget Direct.
So we've already talked about the design of the Crosstrek quite a lot already in our previous video on the 2-litre S. But today, we're going to jump inside and have a look at the interior where it's changed the most. And also we'll look at the spec sheet. So even though the 2-litre R doesn't look very different on the outside, it is different inside. And that's because it's lacking a few of the key features that are in the higher S grade. These include leather seats, a sunroof, a larger 10-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, and also sat-nav in the infotainment screen. And while this may not seem like a big deal, it does sort of make the interior feel a little bit cheaper and less premium. And I was definitely more of a fan of the S in terms of all the features that it had. So what's the 2-litre R like right here, right now, inside the cabin? Well, these cloth seats are actually really comfortable, and although they're not leather, which some people do prefer, I found them to be really soft and sort of springy, which is nice. Even though that Subaru says that the seats are exactly the same material underneath. The main touch points inside are pretty good, although the steering wheel is kind of hardened leather material, which I don't really like. I'm more of a fan of those soft leather steering wheels. It still feels good to hold though. And in terms of the trim inside the car, there's a lot of this fake carbon fiber going on, which is the same as in the S. And there's quite a fair bit of cheap sort of marine grade grey plastics, which I'm not the biggest fan of. In terms of ergonomics and storage, inside the cabin, there's 2 big cup holders front and center. There's 2 big door bins on each side. And there's a wireless charging pad as well for your phone. And they also offer both USB-C and USB-A outputs, and even an auxiliary port, which you don't see too much in cars these days. So here we are in the back of the Crosstrek, and largely it's pretty comfortable. It's a little bit tight in terms of knee room and headroom. There is pretty good toe room, but the cloth seats are pretty comfortable. I could probably sit in here for a couple of hours. It's probably better suited for kids, but not too bad for adults. Now you've got 2 USB ports, 1 USB-C and 1 USB-A, but there is no air vents back here. And there's also a little flip down armrest here with 2 cup holders, which is pretty handy. And on the sides, there's 2 door bins with medium-sized door pockets. So around the back of the Crosstrek, in the boot, you'll get 291 litres worth of storage space. There's a temporary spare wheel under there, and also 2 little pockets to store things as well. There is, unfortunately, no electric tailgate. Now, in terms of running costs for the Subaru Crosstrek, to service over 5 years, it'll cost you $2,373. Now, all Subarus come with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty. Now, in terms of fuel consumption for the Subaru Crosstrek, Subaru claims that the Crosstrek will do 7.2 litres combined. However, during our whole week of testing, we found that we got more about 8 litres per 100 kilometres. Over the last 12 months, the median budget direct customer paid $939 to comprehensively insure their new Subaru XV or Crosstrek. Your premium may vary based on things that insurers take into account, such as your age, driving history, where you live, and whether or not you garage the car. So let's now talk about what it's like to drive the Crosstrek. And I've got a few points here, some good, some not so good, but we'll start with the good. And the thing is that this Crosstrek is really comfortable to drive. It's got comfortable seats. It's got pretty softly sprung suspension, and it works really well around town and on the highway, especially here in Sydney where the roads are quite awful. Now, the Subaru won't handle like a sports car, and that's obvious because it is a small SUV and it's softly sprung. And for the most part, it's pretty good, even on a back road. If you do want to have a little bit of fun, you've got the grip there, the suspension is pretty well dialed in, but all in all, in terms of the car and how it drives dynamically, it's very comfortable. Now onto my next point, and one of the sort of bugbears with this car is the engine and the transmission. So the engine is a 2-litre flat 4, naturally aspirated engine, produces 115 kilowatts of power and 196 Newton meters of torque. Now those figures won't blow anyone away. They're pretty average figures. The engine does fine in terms of getting up to speed and it's good around town, but what it doesn't do so well is its pairing with the CVT transmission. And as I'm about to show you, when you do end up putting a bit of throttle in and you want to get up to speed, it makes quite a racket. It really just revs and revs and revs, and it's just not particularly enjoyable. I think that this engine would really benefit from having a turbocharger fitted to it, or even being a slightly bigger displacement, like the 2.5 litre engine that's in other Subaru products. A little bit more guts and lower revs would really benefit this car and make it even better than what it is. Now, if we talk about safety, this is a key point of this car. It's got the Subaru Eyesight Safety software installed in it, and it's got everything from AEB to blind spot monitoring to lane keep assist. And I've found that AEB has actually pulled me up a couple of times on Sydney roads with some crazy drivers, and it's been so quick at responding. I was really impressed with it. And the Crosstrek isn't just capable on-road, it is capable off-road too. If you are the adventurous type, you want to go for a hike, you have to get to a difficult campsite or something like that, you can do so with this, and you'll have that all-wheel drive system to get you out, especially if it starts raining and it gets really boggy. This car will be fine. You could even take it on the beach if you really wanted to, and I think that would be a fun thing to do with the Crosstrek. So all in all, the Crosstrek is capable, it's comfortable, and it's very safe. But its fatal flaw is its engine and transmission, which I think is just a little bit low grade. I think Subaru could do a lot better. And this is the same sort of feeling I had with the S variant, which has the same engine. So my thoughts haven't really changed there. So there is a hybrid Crosstrek, and it is on sale right now in Australia. We didn't get a chance to drive it at the Australian launch about a month ago, but we will soon have it into the Chasing Cars garage, where we'll get to see whether that powertrain solves any of the issues that I have personally with this Crosstrek right here. Now, even though that it might be more effort for Subaru to put a turbocharger onto this engine or get a bigger 2.5 litre engine, maybe the solution is to go hybrid. We can't wait to find out in a future Chasing Cars video. So what are my final thoughts on the Crosstrek 2 litre R? Well, for under $40,000, there's not too many cars that are as capable and comfortable as this one. The 2 litre R has the same basic fundamentals as the rest of the Subaru Crosstrek range. It's got the same engine, it's got the same transmission, but it does miss out on some of those really nice features that I love in a car, such as a sunroof, Harman Kardon sound system, and the leather seats. If I was you, I would save up that extra $3,000 and go for the S flagship variant, because I think it's really great value for money. The R is pretty good. It's a little bit basic inside, but all in all, it's a very compelling package for the money. But I want to know what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. And while you're there, make sure you like and subscribe to Chasing Cars.